Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hello everyone, my name is Amalia Nur Insani and I am one of the member of group 5. Today our subject of material is about solidarity and politeness. So before we begin this presentation, I will introduce you to the other members here. There are Achmad, Syukron, Alfin, Rezky, Pratama, and Eva Maria Wibowo. Okay. Let's go to the first slide. So I will give you a short explanation about solidarity and politeness. So when we speak, we must constantly make choice of many different kinds, like what we want to say, how we want to say it, and the specific sentence types, words, and sound that best unite with the what and with the how. The first point is what we want to say. Of course, when we want to speak with someone else, we must have content of what will we speak about. For example, when someone talk with their friends, sometimes they talk about something favorite, daily activities, and etc. And when someone as a speaker in a conference, so they must give speech relate to the topic of the conference, of course. Not only that, even though we just make some kidding, it also includes of a content. So everything that we're talking about has various content. The next point is how we want to say it. So how we want to say it is related to the formal and non-formal. The use of formal and non-formal is depend on the person who talking with us. And the third point is specific sentence types. So it relates to the time used and the specific sentence. It can be past time or present time or maybe the future time, so we have to consider about the kind of sentence. And the next point is words. So of course, before you want to speak with somebody else, make sure that your words are understandable and also clear. And the last point is sounds that best unite the what with the how. So to make the content more understandable, we have to make the unite sound when we speak with somebody else. And content and form are inseparable, and the social relationship between speaker and listener are indicated by some linguistic choices. How we say something is at least as important as what we say. In fact, the content and the form are quite inseparable, being two facets of the same object. One way of looking at this relationship is to examine a few specific aspects of communication, like pronominal choice between to and voice, in to and voice forms in language that require a choice, and the use of naming and address terms, and the employment of of politeness markers. And in each case, we will see that certain linguistic traits a speaker makes indicate the social relationship that the speaker perceives to exist between him or her and the listener or listeners. Moreover, in many cases, it is impossible to avoid making such traces in the actual packaging of message. So we will also see that language very considerable in this respect. At least in regard to those aspects we will examine.
Okay, so I'm going to explain about to and vos. First off, what to and vos means? It means you word in general, and its function is to express the degree of politeness. Also, vo itself is higher than to. First, the distinction of to and vos as difference between plural and singular. Singular you is to and plural you is vos. And second one is T form, described as a familiar form in use. T form is usually used by lower class, and they use it with the same class where they belong. For example, people who had a circle usually call their neighborhood or other people in their circumstances with to or singular you as informal one, in order to be more free to express each other vibes in such situations. Jadi lower class di sini lebih bebas untuk menggunakan to karena konteksnya atau situasinya itu informal, karena lower class usually gather around di situasi yang umum atau situasi seperti biasa, bukan seperti acara-acara such as a party or informal meeting or graduation occasion or something. So in here, lower class can use T form each other with their same people. And the next is V form. V form described as the polite one and used to show mutual respect and politeness. V form has chosen by upper class or royal blood, for example, in their circle as a member of a high table, and it is used to show mutual respect and the polite one. They use T form to the lower classes but still receive V addressing. For example, in here, when we talking to the people with the higher title and they're got in the higher table, for example, is a king and servant. When king want to talk to their servant, and king can use T form to start the conversation with the servant. But the servant must use V form to the king in order to show respect and show politeness to the king, because the king has the higher position of the servant. Jadi di sini servant ketika berbicara dengan raja itu harus menggunakan V form dikarenakan raja berstatus lebih tinggi dari servant. So servant must respect the king as it used to be. Servant itu harus menghormati raja sebagaimana mestinya. Dengan menggunakan V form, servant dapat mengekspresikan kesopanan dan menghormati raja yang lebih tinggi. Dan sebaliknya, raja tetap menghormati servant, but the king can use T form or V form. It is based on what king want to be. And asymmetrical T or V usage symbolize a power relationship. It could be used in situations when speakers are in different ages, classes, and etc. It is happen when both speakers use different form. So asymmetrical V di sini itu dapat digunakan di situasi ketika kedua pembicara atau kedua speaker berbeda umur dan berbeda kelas. For example, lower class and upper class. Dan itu terjadi ketika kedua speaker use different form. Jadi asymmetrical T or V dapat terjadi apabila salah satu speakers menggunakan T form or V form to have a conversation each other. And in here, symmetrical V usage become polite usage, spreading downward in society. It was used, for instance, wife and husband, parents and children, and lovers. So di sini symmetrical V itu untuk polite usage, and it is can use for wife and husband because it is showed polite situation. Karena ketika wife and husband talking each other, they have to be polite, especially parents and children. Parents and children, it is very important to use a V form because children, when want to talk to their parents, they have to use a V form as the polite one. And also lovers should use symmetrical V or V form in order to maintain their politeness each other. And the last is symmetrical T usage shows intimacy. People using this for had strong common interests and showed solidarity. So in here, showing intimacy and solidarity to our closest friends. For example, biasanya we use this form to our closest friend that we've been friends with them for a long time, and we can call them with a nickname. For example, again, I had a friend named Roseanne, and we've been friends for years. So by the time I called him OOs because they allowed me to call so, and it is the example of solidarity and intimacy, keakraban, karena kita sudah lama berteman jadi kita akrab, so I can call him OOs, but actually his name is Roseanne.
Okay, I'm going to explain about a dress term. Brown and Ford in 1961 are reported about words. Asymmetric use of little or title, especially for title last name and title first name. This title to indicate inequality in power. This statement means if the someone is saying to the another person, so that person will say to the someone's name with the title. And for example, the name of Paulo Fernandez. Yeah. Example of Paulo Fernandez name. And the saying is, hey, where are you going, Prof. Paulo? Or it can be, hey, where are you going, Prof. Fernandez? Yeah, those are the examples from asymmetric use of little or title, especially for title last name or first name, to indicate inequality in power when the person wants to say to the name to someone else with the title last name or title first name. Second is mutual TLN or title last name to indicate inequality and unfamiliarity. Means the statement is if the someone is saying to the another person, so the person only saying the title for the last name. Yeah, because it shows unfamiliarity between someone else to the another person, because they have just met to the first time. For example, the saying is, hey, Prof. Fernandez, where are you from? I'm from Venezuela. And what about you? I'm from LA. Ah, you are from Venezuela? I see that. And thanks for asking, by the way. Yeah, that is the example from mutuality and to indicate inequality and familiarity. When the person wanna say the name to someone else with the title last name and so the unfamiliarity. Third is mutual first name to indicate equality and familiarity. Means if the someone is saying to the another person, so that person will say only first name and without any title, because they are friends since a long and they know the background each others. And for example, the saying is, "Hey Paula, what is going on?" Or it can be, "Hey Paula, what are you looking for?" Yeah, that is the example from mutual first name to indicate in equality. Yeah, equality and familiarity. When the person say only first name and without any title, cause they are friends since a long and they know the background each other. Fourth, the switch from mutual to the last name to first name is also usually initiated by the more powerful member of the relationship. This statement means if the peoples are in association members and there are also many peoples there. Usually they say to the another person only there. Usually they say to each another person to the verse with their title, but gradually after a long time they have known to each other's person and become a friendship. They finally only saying to the name by the first nickname without being accompanied with their title again. Yeah, it's the process. For example, the saying is, "Hey Prof Paula, what about the meeting yesterday at the office?" "Yeah, as usual, Dr. Sergio." "Obviously, Mr. Vice Director, what about marketing budget in this company? Is it okay?" But after gradually, they only saying to the name with the nickname without any being accompanied. And the example is same in the before. And the change without any title, because after several times, they become familiarity to each another person, become friendship, become unfamiliar. 5 is addressed by the title alone in the least intimate form of address in the titles, usually saying it ranks of occupations. This statement means if the someone is to the another person, so the person only saying the title because it shows the charismatic of who you are, okay, who the people are, who someone's are, and then it makes the person show the professionalism in the job, especially when the person is working at the office. And the example for the saying is, "Hey Prof, what is your project in the next?" As usual, Sir Pilot, my project is about doing research in academic. Yeah, this is the example from address by title alone is the least intimate form of address in the titles, usually decided ranks of occupations. When the person wants to say to someone else only the title, it's very great for them because it shows the credibility who you are. 6 is using another's first name is of course a sign of considerable intimacy, of at least of a desire for such intimacy. This statement means if the someone is saying to another person, the person only say the nickname, not saying the real name, or without title also. And for the example for saying is name of Paulo Fernandez, and he has a nickname, and his nickname is Hugo. Okay. And the sentence is, hey Hugo, where is her pen? And Hugo answer, I think her pen is under the chairs between that books. Yeah, that is the example from using another verse name is of course a sign of considerable to intimacy of at least of a desire for such intimacy. When the person only saying the friend's name, only the nickname, because it sounds the closer they are, and then make them also saying the nickname together. And the last is number 7, using nickname of a pet to show an even greater intimacy. Means the statement is if someone has a pet, so that person will give the nickname or name to their pet. Yeah, cause it's so how the biggest one more again, how the biggest love to the pet. For example, the saying is, bulldog, come here to cage, and you will eat the food what you like, and as possible as you can. Yeah, that is the example from using a nickname of a pet name to show intimate, even greater intimacy. When the person is saying to the pet with the name, because it shows the relations between them and intimate, of course.
So in this slide, I will explain about 2 kinds of politeness. It is positive politeness and negative politeness. I will try to explain about the positive politeness first. In this slide, positive politeness is trying to achieve solidarity and treat other person as our friend. For example, symmetrical prominent use. Positive politeness is like a method to evade or prevent any conflict with other people by using friendlies, using jokes, or slang, and the other. Positive politeness strategies are intended to avoid giving offense by highlighting friendlies. And the second is negative politeness. So in this slide, negative politeness leads to difference, indirectness, and formality in, for example, asymmetric to enforce use. Negative politeness is a method that usually used to deceive to make the business with other people smoother, or you may call it business face. Negative politeness strategies are intended to avoid giving offense by showing difference. These strategies include questioning, hedging, and presenting disagreement as opinion. So that's all the short explanation about positive and negative politeness from me. And the next slide will be presented by Alfin.